the Season 5 finale. Welcome back to another My Hero Academia anime versus manga comparison video. Today we will be going over Season 5 episode 113 of the My Hero Academia anime. As always, we will be seeing what was changed or how much was changed, removed, or perhaps done better from the manga to anime adaptation. Now, episode 113 is titled The High Deep Blue Sky, which is the same title as chapter 256, and this episode is also the final episode of the season. To start things off, the episode picks back up on chapter 240 during the speech where Destro makes Shigaraki the official Grand Commander of the Paranormal Liberation Front, and this time we get to see things from Hawks' perspective. Here, when Dabi sees the body of Best Jeanist, the anime adds in a few extra shots of Dabi and Hawks, which extra shots of these two characters is always a treat for me. When Hawks says, with soldiers being led under a single will, the anime doesn't adapt this panel showing the silhouettes of the MLA warriors, and instead replaces it with a shot showing Shigaraki and the PLF lieutenants from a distance. After this, when Hawks was talking about how Shigaraki has the same or more power than that of heroes, the anime doesn't adapt the panel showing an overhead shot of the army and the stage that Shigaraki and them were standing on. To me, this was a panel that was used in the manga to show the scale of just how big the army actually is and how Shigaraki has all of these people now under his command. The anime instead just replaces this with a shot of Shigaraki, which it doesn't really bother me all that much. I just think the overhead shot would have been more effective in showing how big a deal it was for Shigaraki to now be in command of this massive army. Switching over to Shigaraki and Dr. Ujiko. When we switch over to them, the anime adds in this shot of the hallway outside of where Shigaraki is getting prepped to undergo this experiment to gain new power. Also, the insane level of detail that Bones puts into Shigaraki's arm was so unnecessary, but I really loved it. In Ujiko's lab, the anime adds in extra shots of this one monitor. The anime also removes the detail of this one monitor that was originally supposed to show what looked to be Shigaraki's vitals in the manga. Granted, they are both supposed to be showing what's going on with Shigaraki, but the anime shows it a little differently. When Shigaraki is looking at his arm, the anime removes the flashbacks showing Destro at the end of their fight, as well as his arm being all messed up at the end of that fight due to him going all out. Now, when Ujiko is talking about the Quirk singularity theory, originally most of his dialogue in the manga was over a blacked out panel. In the anime, for most of his dialogue, we see this one monitor. Here, I think the anime missed a big opportunity to show more of the advent of the extraordinary, or at least the fourth generation of Quirk users, to show us the early signs of his Quirk singularity theory being true. Moving on, this shot of Ujiko laughing at Shigaraki's joke about being filled with hopes and dreams was added into the anime. Also, big thank you for Bones for actually adapting the Shigaraki butterfly scene and the rest of this section in general. For those of you that might have forgotten, this whole scene with Shigaraki and Ujiko was meant to originally show up during the Endeavor agency arc when Endeavor was solving Hawks' coded message, but was cut out from that arc due to the anime rearranging the arcs around. When Shigaraki hears that One For All was the one quirk that All For One couldn't get, the anime adds in Shigaraki looking shocked. After the opening, we finally switch back to Deku and Class 1A. When we switch back to them, the anime doesn't adapt this panel showing an overhead shot of Ground Alpha, which is where the students are all showing off what they learned during their work study. The anime instead replaces it with a shot of the front of UA. Also, you just gotta love the Skynet and Judgment Day Terminator references in the anime. Speaking of robots uprising and taking over humanity though, here is a quick fun fact. In one of Horikoshi's interviews, he said that these AI robots in UA actually tried to rebel once in the past, which I guess kinda gives these Terminator references a little bit of a deeper meaning. Moving on, seeing Aoyama's naval laser cut through extra robots was a pretty cool addition into the anime. For some detail removed, the students after seeing Aoyama's new move aren't eating the cotton candy that All Might brought for the class. It seems like Bones must have forgotten that All Might had offered the students cotton candy some episodes ago. When the anime is showing who the students did their work studies under, the anime removes the funny detail of Gang Orca tossing Jiro and Shoji to the side like he did to Bakugo and and Todoroki. When Koda is showing off, the anime removes the detail of Koda listening to Wash saying wash wash during his work study. Instead, the anime decided to just show Wash when Present Mic is talking about him. For Tokoyami, Kirishima, Ochako and Froppy, Momo, and finally Bakugo, Deku, and Todoroki, the anime adds in shots of Hawks, Fat Gum, Ryukyu, Majestic, and Endeavor to show the pro heroes that they all each did their work studies under. When Bakugo is showing off, the anime removes the detail of him actually running through and blowing up multiple robots in the manga, and not just the one that he blew up in the anime. Still looked pretty cool though. As Deku is about to go kick through the robots, the anime doesn't adapt this panel showing a flashback of Deku and All Might smiling. Also, big props to Bones for expanding on some of the scenes where the students are showing off what they learned, because in the manga, the majority of those scenes were just single panels, so that was definitely a big improvement on the manga for the anime. Also, the animation during this section of the episode looked really good too. Moving on, after that session is over, the anime adds in a shot showing the robots cleaning up the mess made by the students. After this, when Ochako and Deku do that cute little fist bump together, the anime shamefully removes Minetta's and Mina's reaction to this interaction between Deku and Ochako. Honestly, I'm a little mad that this got removed because this was such a great little moment in the manga. Before we switch over to Aizawa and Present Mic, the anime doesn't adapt half of page 12 in chapter 256, where All Might tells the class that he recorded today's class for Aizawa to watch later and for them to keep giving it their best at their work studies. Now, switching over to Aizawa and Present Mic, the anime doesn't animate this panel showing the TV in the lounge. Switching over to Deku, Bakugo, and All Might in the break room, when we see all of the past One For All users' deaths, the anime removes the background rubble for some of the shots, and the anime even adds in what looks to be the second user grabbing the first user's hand. In the manga, it was originally just their hand reaching towards something, but this is a cool little addition in my opinion. The anime also changes the sixth user's death, where the anime doesn't show that he is missing his whole right arm. The anime also has it to where he is grabbing some random person's hand, where in the manga he is actually handing over strands of his hair to Nana Shimura. I'm still so confused on whose hand this is in the anime, because we all know Nana Shimura be rocking them lunch lady gloves. After this, when Bakugo throws the notebook back on the table, the anime doesn't show the notebook being opened to a certain page where All Might had already scribbled out a certain piece of information from. When Bakugo says which power will Deku learn next, the anime removes dialogue from Deku and All Might, where All Might sort of snaps on the both of them with him saying, "I've had it with you too and your tangents." Switching over to the 1A Heights Alliance dorms, when Bakugo yells at Todoroki for him being trash at cutting up chives, the anime adds in a scene showing Bakugo cutting up the chives and him yelling at Todoroki again. Honestly, this scene was comedy gold, and I feel like Todoroki and Bakugo are the funniest when they share scenes together. After this, the anime doesn't adapt these two panels showing the ceiling and of Deku and the class preparing stuff. For that last panel though, of Deku and the class preparing stuff and Froppy bringing out some food, the anime just shows that from a different perspective, that being from the outside of the dorms, which to me, that was kind of a pointless change. When the hot pot party is about to begin, the anime adds in an extra shot of Ida. The anime also removes most of the students' dialogues when they all do their cheers. During the hot pot party itself, Bakugo at first isn't shown to be sitting next to Kirishima, but then is suddenly sitting next to Kirishima when Deku mentions him. Nice save there, Bones. Switching over to All Might and Aizawa outside, during their conversation, this panel showing the light post doesn't get animated, which to me is a good thing because I would rather see the characters, honestly. When the conversation is over, the anime doesn't adapt this panel showing UA at night. Before switching over to Hawks, the anime doesn't adapt the panels showing the seasons changing to spring, with the cherry blossom trees blooming their flowers in March. The anime also removed Deku's narration where he says, "That day, heroes vanished from the city," which I feel that would have made for a better cliffhanger than what we got for the season. Switching over to Hawks, that whole Hawks section with him in the PLF mansion and him going to see the League was an anime only edition, which that was meant to really just built up that hype for season 6. For some detail removed, when we switch over to Ujiko, the anime removes this patient at the hospital walking behind the nurse. Here, the anime also adds in an extra line for the nurse asking about Ujiko's research. And then we see Shigaraki undergoing the experiment to gain new power, and he is still not shown to be laughing while being in pain like in the manga. And finally, for the final changes in the anime. In the post-credits scene, the anime only adapts 3 pages from chapter 258. Here, when the students are getting the messages about this expeditionary operation that they all happen to be going on while they were walking outside, the anime changes where this happens. Originally in the manga, when they get those messages, they were all in the Heights Alliance dorm. When we see the evacuation squad, the anime doesn't adapt this panel of Deku's foot. The anime then adds in some extra shots of the evac squad as well as Deku narrating. Episode 113 ends on the beginning of the Paranormal Liberation War arc. Side note, I didn't mention the rest of chapter 258 not being adapted because I have a feeling the rest of that chapter will be adapted at the start of the first episode of season 6. Now, episode 113 covers the rest of chapter 240, the 5 pages from chapter 246, all of chapters 256 and 257, and 3 pages from chapter 258. Now, this episode was great for a season finale. My only real issue with this episode was the fact that it didn't end with Deku saying, "That day heroes vanished from the city." I felt like that would have made for a way better cliffhanger for the season, but other than that, the episode was really good. As for the season itself, I still believe the season was poorly adapted during the second half of season 5. Don't get me wrong, there were some really hype moments in animation, but when it comes to adapting the actual story, it was done really poorly. The removal of really cool lore and character development is a big no-no for me. As someone who loves My Hero Academia, I'm always going to be hyped for the next episode or whatever My Hero Academia related, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't sting when it's not executed correctly. I can't wait to see what changes they make for the Blu-ray release of season 5, and I definitely cannot wait for season 6 of the anime because that's when shit really goes down. And yes, when season 6 starts, you best believe I'm going to be making anime versus manga videos for that season. Hopefully season 6 only has hype changes in it. Let me know in the comment section below your thoughts on the changes made in the season 5 finale. Did you enjoy this episode? Are you sad that the season has ended? What was your favorite part of the episode? Let me know everything in the comment section below. With that said, thank you for watching another My Hero Academia anime versus manga comparison video. If you enjoyed the video, then be sure to Detroit smash that like button below, and don't forget to share this video with your friends. If you are new to the channel and you want to see more My Hero Academia content, then be sure to subscribe to the channel with notifications turned on to join the Kitoroki Hero Academia to become my hero. Doing all of this really does help the channel out a lot, and it's always appreciated. Remember to stay plus ultra, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.